Welcome back to the channel. This is a book review. It's a book titled Negroes in Negroland, the Negroes in America, and Negroes generally. Also, several races of white men considered as the involuntary and predestined supplanters of the black races. It's a compilation by Hinton Rowan Helper, a rational Republican, author of The Impending Crisis of the South, No Joke, and other writings in behalf of the free and white America. We have some commentary here on the book. A compassion for that which is not and cannot be useful or lovely is degrading and futile. Among the Negroes, no science has been developed, and few questions are ever discussed, except those which have an intimate connection with the wants of the stomach. I knew this was going to be a good book. I've read this book a little bit before, but it's just now I'm actually going deep into it. Of course, big thank you to Andrew Anglin, Dr. Andre Wanglin of the Hoax Watch, Daily Stormer. Without him, I wouldn't have gotten this book. So it's so fantastic. Thank you guys for recommending this book to me. This is my review. I will give a very brief overview, and then I will also interlace the findings of this book with reality. This book was written and compiled over 100 years ago, and I will do my best to show that what this book is talking about 100 years ago is very much applicable today, showing that these people who were speaking of the subjects of this book are not capable of change, which is why the problem is the way it is. We saw Mr. Beast taking the photo with the children. We saw their faces. We know the general ingratitude of these people. We're going to see all that today, and I'll do my best. This video is going to be a long and difficult video, and I won't say too much, but I am certain that the video is going to come out very, very well, and I'll do my best to keep it as short as possible. That being said, let's continue. It has been proved by measurements, by microscopes, by analysis, that a typical Negro is something between a child, a dotard, and a I cannot struggle against the sacred facts of science. That was Winwood Reed. Our country might well have shrunk from assuming the guardianship of the Negro. That makes a lot of sense. It's a strictly white message that are bearing onward the flambeau of civilization as displayed in the Germanic families alone. There's a word you have never heard before. What was it? A dotard. I guess that should be some kind of retard. Let's see what it means. It means an offensive term for someone who's unable to think clearly, especially when their inability is attributed to the person's age. Wow. Interesting. So, we have the information there. This is 1858. This book was published. Wow. In the year 1868, actually. Dedication to Judge Merriman, formerly of Asheville, now of Raleigh, who, as a good man, as an able lawyer, as an eminent civil patriot, as a wise and national statesman, will, it is hoped, at no distant day, a fitly rewarded servant of North Carolina in the Senate of the United States, this volume is most respectfully dedicated. Fantastic. So I'll go over the contents, just the chapters, and I will take excerpts from each chapter. The ones that stick out to me we'll go over together, and I'll show you exactly how each of them is able to relate to one another and in the real world today in 2025 when this video is being recorded. Chapter 1, Cannibalism in Negroland. Yes, remember Congo? You know, many such issues of cannibalism that happens. Human butcheries, human sacrifices in Negroland. That's chapter 2. Very related to chapter 1. Chapter 3, human skulls are sacred relics and ornaments in Negroland. Same thing, that still goes on today. Many parts of Tanzania, South Africa, Nigeria, many African countries still do this. We're talking about over almost 200 years then. Chapter 5, slavery. Or chapter 4, bloodthirstiness and barbarity of Negroes in Negroland. Yes. Chapter 5, slavery and slave trade in Negroland. Yes. Chapter 6, heathenish superstition and witchcraft in Negroland. Chapter 7, fetishism, priestcraft and idolatry in Negroland. Chapter 8, rain doctors and other doctors in Negroland. Chapter 9, nakedness, shamelessness and prostitution in Negroland. Whew. This is like 80% of World Star Hip Hop, 80% of Black YouTube, 80% of Black Twitter when you think about it, Jade Room, all that stuff. Anyway, chapter 10, drunkenness and debauchery in Negroland. Chapter 11, night carousals and noisy and nonsensical actions in Negroland. This must be familiar. In chapter 12, inhospitality to strangers, begging, extortion, rob in Negroland. And by the way, begging, extortion, and robbery are all connected. Did you guys know that? If you watch my show very closely, and of course if you watch Cauliflower's show, you will know that begging, extortion, and robbery are all part of the same thing. It's all the same. It's the same act, but with different tools. It's like you're hammering a nail, but sometimes you may use a shoe, sometimes you may use a hammer, sometimes you may use some other blunt object. Sometimes you may even use your hand if you're angry enough. The point is that the activity is the same. It's all a bid to extract money from you. So a beggar can turn very quickly into a robber. That means that there is no actual distinction between a beggar and a robber. Chapter 13, wrangling, lawlessness, penury, and misery in Negroland. Does that not sound familiar? Why does, for example, Mr. Beast have to go back again to Africa to build wells and get water for the African children? Are you telling me that in 2025, African people cannot dig wells on their own? Mr. Beast needs to come, and then you see the black people in the back, frowning, angry, ungrateful. For God's sake, when I was very young, what was her name? Angelina Jolie do a lot of UN work to go to Africa and build the wells and feed the starving African malaria babies. Sting, any of the celebrities did these missions to Africa. Why does Mr. Beast, a 26, 27-year-old man, have to spend his wealth or his influence doing the same thing that these new celebrities were doing 30, 20, 40 years ago? Bill Gates says he has given about $10 billion worth of charity to African causes. Why does charity still exist? Strange, but that's what chapter 13 is going to talk about. Chapter 14, theft, a fine art among Africans. I mean, do we need to even show you proof of this? We will, or we don't need to. Lying as an accomplishment among the Africans. Again, fast talking, scamming, we know what all these things are. Duplicity and chapter 16. Duplicity and venality of the Negroes in Negroland. This duplicity and venality. What is venality? Oh, corruption, all right. Let's see. Chapter 17. Revolting voracity and gluttony of the Negroes in Negroland. Of course, an easy example is the recent reduction of health and benefits from people, and of course the people who come out to complain, you see how fat they are, prefer to eat junk, and they are very voracious, and they are very gluttonous, and they are very black. Chapter 18, dislike of their own color by the Negroes in Negroland. Chapter 19, courtship, marriage, and concubinage in Negroland. Chapter 20, mumbo jumbo in Negroland. I'll have to look at this chapter very closely. Mumbo jumbo. Chapter 21, funeral and burial rites in Negroland. Yes, when certain chiefs die, you have to kill about 7 other people to escort him to the afterlife. That happens till today, and we will show you all these things. Chapter 22, indolence and improvidence of the Negroes. Whew. I mean, this book is like a prophecy. It's almost like a Bible. Indolence and improvidence. Oh, that is so fantastic. Timidity and cowardice of the Negroes. Chapter 24, African anecdotes. Chapter 25, utter failure and inutility of all missionary enterprises in Negroland. That's crazy. Chapter 26, miscellaneous peculiarities, manners, habits, and customs of the Negroes in Negroland. Chapter 27, huts, hovels, and holes, but no houses in Negroland. Chapter 28, gradual decrease and probable extinction of the Negro race. That's a little bit dicey. 29, natural repulsive, irreconcilable points of difference, physical, mental, and moral between the whites and the blacks. Very important. American Writers on the Negro, chapter 30. Chapter 31, mulattoes, the offspring of crimes against nature. That's crazy. Chapter 32, albinos, white Negroes, and other creatures of preternatural whiteness. Oof! It's crazy that books from 20 years ago, 200 years ago, have so many nice words that you don't see. Preternatural is crazy. Right. Chapter 33, increasing preeminence and predominance of the white races. Then you have 2 appendices. Okay, so that said, thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed this video. And hopefully we learned a little bit. We're going back a little bit in history, and we've learned that what we're dealing with is a matter that is beyond time. It's over 100 years in the making. What is the solution? Very easy. Hinton Rowan Helper was an abolitionist. He wanted to abolish slavery. He wanted Black people to be free to conduct their own activities in their own nations. And when you think about it, the triumph of the missionaries is literally what saved Black people from themselves. By the time you go through all these things, if these practices, the cannibalism, funeral rites, if all these things flourished, if they spread the way they should have spread, then this final chapter here of chapter 28 would not have been a possible chapter, because that's what was faced. But actually, it was the missionaries who saved Black people. In many African cultures, like, there's some children that were supposed to die. For example, in some parts of Africa, like, it was considered taboo for a woman to have twins, right? So if you have twins, they both should die. Like, that is the prevailing custom. For example, the missionaries and, of course, the other influences, they brought up the idea of blood genotype. So you have AA, AS, SS, and people didn't know. Of course, the Africans didn't know. They just had children, and children kept dying. And it was the missionaries and all these other people who came and said, no, you're not supposed to. If you have this blood type, you're not supposed to marry a woman with this type of blood type. So that way, don't reduce the chances of your offspring having this terminal illness. And that alone, really, I think it increased African life expectancy by 40-50%, truly, when you think about it. So invariably, the persistence of the missionary enterprise is what saved Black people from destruction. It has to be said. That being said, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. It's a very long and arduous video to make, but I made it. I'm glad you stayed back here for me to appreciate for watching it all this way. Thank you so much. Leave a like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.